Hey everybody, hey, how you doing? Welcome to another edition of the Night Owl. I'm Brother John, and tonight's subject is going to be, we're going to start out at least with stigmas of the past. I had just a thought that was going by my head today, and I figured, you know what, throw it out as a little subject to get the conversation going. And so I'm going to discuss stigmas, a couple of stigmas that I've noticed in the past especially when I was growing up as a child, and then perhaps we could talk about, those stigmas as well as some current stigmas. And also we're going to do something a little different, viewers. We're going to let the live broadcast go on a little further, and because sometimes these conversations evolve into other discussions, other topics that we find that gotten pretty interesting, and regret that they haven't been recorded for to later be viewed perhaps by somebody who was in the hangout and had to go and they missed it, or they just missed the total chat altogether. So one of the first stigmas that I noticed when I was a child, I guess in the early teens, growing up in the 70s, was the stigma of divorce. Um, I remember that, if you heard of somebody getting a divorce, it was a very, it was shameful. It was a big mark in you. It was kept very secretive. You didn't hear much about it, and besides, also the divorce rate was much lower then. I think we're like about 50% now. Some say it's decreasing, but um, that stigma I've noticed, now it seems to be accepted in a way. That it doesn't have that stigma attached to it as much. It's become commonplace. It's and so yeah, like you heard about, your friends, you know, parents getting divorced and all kinds of thoughts going through your head. Oh, what happened with them? Why they getting divorced? Who cheated on who? Stuff like that. So I definitely seen that change over the years. Um, Also, the other stigma that I noticed, and when I was growing up, my my dad, I remember we were going through financial problems, and so I think I was about I must have been 11, 12 years old, and they had to file for bankruptcy. And I remember them, trying to keep it on the hush hush. Don't tell anybody you got money problems. You have, the pride, the ego, and stuff like that. Wasn't, again, I don't think it was that prevalent back then. I didn't check the statistics. Perhaps somebody wants to in the chat. Um, but I guess also today, it seems like it's easy to talk about either bankruptcy or credit problems. Um, Seems again commonplace, perhaps because we have the excuse of the economy and unemployment and those kind of things. So I find that trend go as well as it's more of an acceptable solution, even divorce being considered a solution. So those are a couple of stigmas that I've noticed, and so I don't know. We have Grant in the room. We have Carlton, Prescott, Sky Daddy. Perhaps you guys maybe want to share some other stigmas that you noticed from maybe your childhood. Some of you are older than I. Well, I think only Carlton's older than me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the other guys who are younger, maybe the stigmas that you seen in the past, and then um, we can discuss some current stigmas, and there could be quite a few of them. So, anyone wanna share your thoughts?
All right, you guys. If you didn't jump in there, I was going to grab the mic.
Okay, okay. You convinced me to talk.
Go for it, Prescott.
Uh, no, I was just joking.
Oh, well, fine. I wasn't. So,
Oh, I knew that.
no, just when John brought this up a little bit earlier, I said, here's one, a couple of them that I thought of, that I had grown up. Adoption was one. That if you're probably not adopted, that probably wouldn't have occurred to you. But I know, well, I'm adopted, so I remember being like about 10 or 11 years old when I found out. And there seemed to be a sort of a stigma. I can remember some mean things people said, because I was adopted. And certainly, I think, we were talking about John having glasses. I think that was to some extent stigmatized, right? He picked on the kid with the glasses, or kind of glasses was sort of associated with nerds, and they weren't really a style state or fashion statement back then like they are now. So those are my two. I'll throw into the mix.
I have to ask a question on the glasses thing. I know that in the media, movies and TV and stuff like that, it's always, pick on the guy with glasses. The guy with glasses is the nerd, the tape on the thing. But I can't look back in any portion of my life and ever see anybody getting picked on or singled out because they wore glasses. So I'm wondering if
Then you were that guy.
What's that?
Then you were that guy.
I didn't wear glasses.
Well, we definitely had terms like four eyes and bug eyes.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yes. I do remember. Like I mentioned before. Before the hangout, fourth grade, I had to wear glasses for a year, and maybe it was just because I was a kid, and I felt embarrassed to wear them, and yeah, those kind of things were going around. Four eyes. I definitely didn't want to be the next four eyes in the classroom.
And I was also going to add to the 60s thing, or the divorce thing, speaking of areas around like the 1960s and even into the early 70s. A lot of times, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, in the Midwest at least, I can speak to this. Usually the wife in a relationship didn't work or had a job that wasn't considered, it wasn't in the breadwinner type of family. So whenever there was a divorce, ultimately she would end up on welfare or state aid of some sort as well, which kind of doubled the stigmatism of that in the starting place.
Oh, yeah, I forgot all about that one, right? Food stamps. That was certainly stigmatized in the past, much more than it is today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. I guess that could be a factor in why there was less divorces. Not only, they didn't, women didn't have jobs, couldn't support themselves, and maybe, you know.
Well, I think it was. I was just looking on Wikipedia, so I'm cheating a bit. And I put a little chart out there on the right. But I think it said, I think the 60s or 70s, and they kind of blurred those two together. But that's when the first no-fault divorce laws were put into effect. So prior to that, you really couldn't get a divorce unless you could prove infidelity or adultery or something. There had to be a reason for it. Whereas after the 60s and 70s, they just sort of said, whatever the hell. If you don't like each other, go your separate ways.
Yeah, I noticed that chart tracks, only the statistic for people that divorce in the first 10 years of marriage.
Yes, it does. Yes, you're right. It does, yeah. Yeah, it was just...
And I can speak to my case. My parents divorced when I was young, and my mother wasn't exactly a breadwinner at the time. And she actually, we went to, I don't know what they would call it now, like low-income housing or state-assisted housing.
Yeah.
But we had the food stamps, which were embarrassing enough because they came like, paper Monopoly money that you tore out of a little coupon.
Right, so everybody at the store behind you knew that, you were on food stamps,
yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely. And because you came from a certain neighborhood, when the bus picked you up in the morning, as a kid, everybody knew, you were in that group, the low-income families or the state-assisted families. For us, it was Robbinsdale, which was the housing development that was, state aid if you have children and stuff like that. I guess they would call it fixed income or fixed. I don't know what they call it in other places.
Yeah. Well, here's one I'll throw out there, which is a different one. And I know this is going to sound. I know Prescott's going to laugh at me, but I think to some extent, being intelligent was stigmatized. You were either the teacher's pet, or you were a bookworm, or there was, of course, then we got nerds later, and then we got, geeks after that. But
You're right, Carlton. I suffered from that a lot.
I thought you might have. I mean, you and I, right? We were we were both there. Um, and I'm sorry, no, I'm laughing. But the reason I bring that up is ironically, I think it's still stigmatized even in adult society today. I think there is not an appreciation for people who are really smart. They're seen as either arrogant, egocentric, snotty,
Pompous.
holier than thou,
Long-winded.
long-winded. Some of them, yeah, I know those bastards. Yeah, well, no, but it is. I think it's not. It is still stigmatized. I think to some extent.
You know what's not stigmatized is just being a simple man of faith.
Being what?
Yes,
A
you're right.
simple man of faith. Yeah, there's no stigma that goes with that.
Hmm.
Just pointing out the opposite on that.
I know, and it seems like the one thing we should be stigmatizing, we're
So,
not.
I got a couple.
just a quick point back to the food stamps thing. Yeah, I remember that as a kid too. It was very shameful. You want to pull out those coupons, and in big letters it said food stamps, and there was that stigma, there was that shame. And but now today, and I mean, you have like 45 million people on assistance now, and they changed the name now. It's called SNAP. But now they took that stigma, that shame away by just giving you a card, right? It looks like a credit card now, so
Right.
that nobody, can tell if you're on food stamps. Also, like back in the Depression, you had the bread lines, which you don't see it, so it's not in your face where you can see that it's a problem. You know.
And I think that's. I'm sorry, Grant. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't know that stigma was a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, because I think it might have incentivized some people to, get themselves out of that situation. Speaking to my own experience, just rather briefly, it was a success story because of state aid and food stamps and everything else. My mother was able to get a part-time job, go to school at the same time, use state aid, get herself a degree in nursing, and she raised 2 kids, and we ended up moving out of the, projects, as it were, into a nice house. So,
Yep.
That
Well,
was another
I was
point.
gonna.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Quickly, go on. Yeah, that was another point I want to make because that shame can be a motivator to want to get out of that situation. So you don't want to have that feeling again, and so that kind of motivator is gone now in a sense. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's doubly bad. I think there's that, John, and I think the other piece to that puzzle is because, like before, like you said, everybody knew you were on food stamps because you were in the bread line or you had paper money, whatever. But because we have hidden it so well now, it also makes it more difficult to actually get funding and create programs because we don't see the poor people anymore. They become invisible, so we can ignore them easier. But I wanted to throw out one other one. So here's a reverse stigma. Here's something that has been going on that was never stigmatized and now is, right? Sky Daddy. So that would be smoking. Used to be everybody smoked. No, nope. I remember going to bowling alley with my dad when I was a kid, and God, I couldn't see my hand in front of my face for all the cigar and pipe smoke in the air.
yeah, but that was campaigns by tobacco companies that spent millions of dollars saying that, tobacco wasn't dangerous.
Well, true, but just the point is, we didn't stigmatize it. Where now somebody says I smoke, and half the people in the room go, oh, you
Yeah,
know,
it was glorified in the
do they get
movies.
outside? Yeah,
In the movies, they did. I remember seeing like interviews, Mike Wallace and stuff like that. They were smoking right on air. It was kind of
of
glorified.
course. All the
Yeah.
talk shows, right? Dean Martin always had a cigarette in his hand, or a glass of booze, or both.
I came in on the edge of that. We still smoked in the supermarkets and in the malls and all of that stuff during, the early 70s. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I vaguely remember the no smoking lights going off and the little bell ringing on airplanes. Vaguely remember that.
as soon as you got in the air, the
Oh yeah,
smoking light went on.
yeah. I forgot about
I,
that.
I had a couple of, one of my stigmas actually fed into another one of mine. Um, when I was very young, I was the fat kid. Like, I was the fat kid.
Really?
Yeah. And I was really well ostracized as a result. And then, just kind of being different. I don't know if I kept being ostracized or if it just, fit me right. So I became the guy with long hair at my school. The guy, and I don't know. I guess being just a little bit different has always been, kind of neat.
Wow.
Here's
I can't
another.
picture you as being the fat guy.
What was that?
I said I can't picture you as being the fat guy.
Oh, you know what? I just I was sick for like a month. I just lost like 40 pounds over the last year. I've been fat all my life, and I'm just now becoming not.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I've only known you for a little bit.
They had a
Abortion.
nice word for that when I was a kid. You were called husky. You went to the
Husky.
husky section of the
Oh,
debate.
Jesus, that was worse.
Big bone.
Get your husky tough skins.
Zoftic.
Here's another reverse stigma that's
Yeah.
more acceptable now than it was, looked upon in the past. Couples living together.
Yeah.
Shacking up.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not a reverse one. We
Well,
don't.
it's more acceptable now, no?
Yeah. So that's not reverse. That's normal, right?
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
we
saying
don't
the stigma
stigmatize
in the past, I would say.
Yeah. When I said reverse, I was saying because in the past cigarettes was okay, and now it's frowned upon.
Yeah.
So it's gonna. But yeah, or abortion or interracial marriage were other ones that were.
Mhm.
If somebody had an abortion, that definitely was not publicized ever. And now people talk about their abortions that they've had when they're in Starbucks having a cup of coffee.
It's not, certainly it's not good for people, but I think it's, yeah, I certainly could be wrong, but I think it's probably a lot easier for like transgendered people to move around in society.
Unless you listen to Nadia.
What's that?
I said Nadia might disagree with you on that, but
Well, I think even she would agree that it is easier than it has been in the past.
oh god, yeah.
Like I said, I don't think it's good. I don't think society's where we need to be in that respect, but I hope we're improving.
No, I'm sure if Nadia went to a job interview in the '60s or something, she probably would have got the shit kicked out of her as soon as somebody figured it out. So yeah.
That's what I'm saying, right? And that's obviously a horrible way to treat a human being.
I'm kind of noticing a pattern here. I don't know if you guys realize it, but to the far right, almost all of these things that we've mentioned are still stigmatized, and the things that have reversed in normal society have not to the far right.
See, I missed it. I didn't quite understand the second half of that, Grant.
Yeah,
Well,
it totally dripped off.
Like how you were saying that some things we no longer stigmatize now that were back then. It seems that the far right hasn't really changed their view on almost everything that's been so far. Where the rest of society has sort of kept pace and made adjustments with the times. I'm just saying, I haven't heard an example yet that hasn't refuted that.
Oh, so the conservative element are still.
The far right is what I'm talking about. Yes.
Now, are you introducing them as another example of stigmatized people?
No, I'm just wondering if the stigma itself has remained the same, but the population has changed.
Daddy knew what I was saying.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. I don't know. It's a good point, actually. I'm trying to think of something that would go against that trend, but that might take me a while.
Evolution of society.
Huh. Well, here's one. Wait a minute. There is one that goes against that. The smoking went against that. And
You can't take away my right to smoke. It isn't right that I can't smoke anywhere I want.
Right, but the reason it's stigmatized now is because the liberals are the ones that now have stigmatized that. So it's not that the liberals had it and let it go. It's that they now are making that an issue, sort of like gun control, right? So everybody, I think liberals and conservatives, 50 years ago, nobody had a problem with you having a gun. But now the liberal half of society has kind of said, we're going to stigmatize that, and we think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, that's my whole point. But the far right has remained the same.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Now, the stigma. It has that, of course, the stigma. I mean, bringing a shame upon somebody. But I guess, in a sense, when it comes to smoking, it's kind of a good thing, right? Because now, uh, yeah, yeah, you had the campaigns in promoting smoking in the past, but now we're realizing how detrimental it is to your health. So it's kind of a good thing to have less people smoking.
Well, it is, but I think there's a difference there, right? I think that there's a difference between getting out good information about the fact maybe that it's not healthy for you, and that's not the same thing though as penalizing people who still decide that they would like to smoke. They know the information, but this is their choice, and then ostracizing them, I think, is the bad thing.
But there are even fines if you smoke in public places. I mean, that is a way of society basically saying to the smoker, if you do this, we're going to punish you.
Look, I gave up smoking because of health reasons, but one thing that I was getting really pissed off about is how small the areas were becoming for me to smoke in. This little white chalked off area outside somewhere, where you got 19 other smokers crammed into this little space, all trying to, it just became not civil.
Oh God, I remember. I guess because I haven't been on an airplane in a while, but this was like in the mid '90s, and they had the smoking sections, and they had this one like glass enclosed room, and all the smokers were in there, and oh man, it was like one big fog. It was like you couldn't even stay in there. It was like
I was going to ask that same thing, John. I was like, I don't know. I remember when I was in boot camp in the Navy, right? Which is the old smoke 'em if you got 'em. So they opened up basically just a little tiny steel room with a hatch on it, and they shoved 20 people inside. They couldn't even sit down. They would literally just, sardines. They'd shut the door for 5 minutes while they all lit up a cigarette. Then 5 minutes later, they'd open out, and this cloud, it looked like a nuclear explosion, would flow out of the room.
like what was it? What was that movie? Oh man, what was that movie? They were coming out of the van. They were smoking weed.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yes, that's right. There's another stigma that's kind of changed, I would say, right? Because with the legalization of marijuana now.
Yeah.
Damn dirty hippies.
Now, here's one that I'm not sure that the stigma is any less or not. What about
pot to kettle? I do believe you're black.
What about prostitution? Is that stigmatized the same amount or less or more now than it was?
I love hookers.
I would say less.
If it wasn't for hookers, I never would have got laid.
Well, I think with there being like it's legal in Las Vegas, I don't know if that lessens the stigma or not, but I don't have an opinion on that.
Yeah, I don't know if I haven't heard anybody, say, to the extent like, divorce. Oh yeah, well, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a prostitute. I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah, exactly. I think the quick answer to that is, how would you feel if your neighbor started hanging out on the street corner in front of your house every day?
Yeah.
Unless you got freebies.
Mm-hmm. What's up, J-Dubs? How you doing? Welcome to the Night Owl.
Well, even with the internet, the kind of like the prevalence of pornography and everything like that has even changed the the view that that society has towards it. It's almost like it's become. I mean, the way you can tell these things is how they are incorporated in the media, like in terms of movies and references in movies that are now more commonplaces than before.
Well, that's that's interesting about pornography before the internet, right? You wanted to go look at right. If you want to go look at a magazine on the rack, you might feel a little embarrassed going to buy it. They used to put it in the paper bag for you and stuff like that.
Buy some gum.
Yeah.
So it didn't look like you just came there for the magazine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not not where I went. Not where I went because I remember one time the clerk, she was an older lady, and she singled out the magazine amongst other magazines that I did honestly read, but made a point of pointing out how the model's teeth were artificially whitened, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, why are we having this conversation here and now about this? Like, just bring my stuff in, please.
Let me be on my way.
Well, I think that probably was true too of buying condoms, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It was always like, yeah, here's some gum, here's a newspaper, and then underneath it you kind of slide the condom back.
Yep. Yep.
I remember waiting to make sure there was nobody in line so I could sneak into the counter and get in and out before anybody caught that purchase.
I still have done my little experiment every time I go to Walmart, and I've not yet seen it. And I hope someday before I die to see this. Every time I go to Walmart or Walgreens or Rite Aid or anything like that, I always stand in line, and I'm just curious to see if anybody actually ever buys Preparation H. I never actually see anybody at the counter with it, So it's one of those things that it's almost like one of those. It's like I have a friend that has a problem. That's not for me. It's for my brother. He asked me to pick him up a pack of Preparation H.
Trust me, a lot of people love Amazon.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I mean, I think I forgot about that. Yeah, right. A lot of the crap that we're kind of too embarrassed to buy. Now we just buy it online.
Buy it online.
Nobody cares, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that's why the statistics for pornography use has gone up quite significantly. I mean, it's because I don't think it was ever a case of where if you could buy the magazine, or if people thought they could get away with buying the magazine, they would, because I think they would have. It was just that there was this kind of embarrassment associated with the act that had deterred a lot of people from actually doing that, especially in smaller towns.
Oh, now, raise your hand, everybody here. I'm going to raise mine first. How many of you as kids, I remember when I was like 13, I would go around with kids on bikes because Friday was the day when you threw out all your junk that wasn't regular trash. It was like for all the big stuff. And you always went house to house looking for the guy that was throwing away a stack of old Playboy or Penthouse magazines so you could read them.
I never did that, but
well, okay.
I knew where Dad hid his.
Yeah, I do that too, right? Right under that little table, underneath all the other magazines. Yeah, I remember that.
I read that there was a group that was trying to do a study involving people who looked at internet porn versus people that didn't look at internet porn, and I forget what the comparative questions they were going to ask, but they were unable to do the study because they couldn't find any men between the ages of 18 and 45 who didn't regularly look at
That was my
internet
question. I
porn.
said, there are people that don't look at internet porn? Who the hell are they?
Well, there was a study done in 2004 with the Promise Keepers organization, and or I guess a poll that they had taken at one of their large get-togethers, and the question was how many people have looked at pornography at some point in the last 2 weeks on their computers, and the number that came back was, I think it was 47 or 49%. And when I mentioned this to someone who was a Christian, they kind of looked at me and they said, well, that statistic's low.
Yeah, because there's always going to be, right, and especially with that, it's probably like low by 50%.
Sure.
At least. Yeah. Wow.
So at least 49% of those people aren't going to keep their promise, or have a tendency to not keep, to be honest.
Well, yeah.
That statistic only says that at least 49% of the promise keepers are liars.
I was just thinking of what's the most useless job that you could ever have in life as a profession, and it just occurred to me it has to have been the guy that wrote the articles for Playboy and Penthouse that didn't have any pictures.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I discovered Shel Silverstein, who is a famous poet, on the pages of Playboy.
Yeah, are you like
really?
if you never read either of those two, those
Playboy
are
had amazing articles.
like seriously, you can read Playboy for the articles, and same with Penthouse. Those are great periodicals.
If there were no pictures in Playboy, it would still be a great magazine.
Yeah, and
I
you know
can't say
what?
that for anything
And I'll
else.
also say this: both Penthouse and Playboy suck as smut. I mean,
Well, but
they might as well not be smut. Those are good magazines.
Well, they are now, but I don't know. It would be interesting to go back and read them. I don't know if you had made that same claim like back in the 60s.
In the 70s, I can make that claim.
Really?
Early to mid 70s, absolutely.
I wasn't alive in
Science
the
fiction
60s.
articles, great.
Well, yeah, okay, mid 70s. So I'm just trying to think. Yeah, so that's after I got out of high school. So that's when I was 18, 19. Yeah. So
You just didn't read it. That's all. They were there. You just didn't
maybe
read it.
that's
You were interested in
I
it.
was just looking at that. I was looking for the staple in the belly button. That's all.
Hold on. How old are you, Grant?
50.
Well, you're the same age as me. So you're saying in the mid 70s, when you were in your early teens,
Yep.
that you could actually read an article and judge whether it was good or bad.
Yep.
Okay.
I read from a very early age, mostly from Playboy.
So what was the order? Playboy was first. I'm assuming Penthouse was second, and maybe Hustler was third. What?
It depends on what your dad's tastes were, I guess.
Well, but they all didn't come out at the same right. I mean, Playboy certainly kind of set the initial standard. I think.
Yeah,
I just-
Playboy was the big hitter.
Yeah, it's just who came. I remember Hustler, and then it seemed like there was a bunch then of other ones.
Gallery, We, all that stuff.
Oh, I remember We. Yeah, We was a good one.
Swing.
Swing. We're really off topic already, aren't we, Brother John?
Yeah, I see, and I see, and I see Grant knows his porn magazines.
He does. Yeah. Larry Flynn, Hugh Hefner. Yeah,
I'm in the same boat with Carlton there. We had the clubhouse, and we knew when trash day was for the paper dump.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Get back on subject here. How about atheism? Is that a stigma being in such a prevalent Christian society?
I never even heard of atheism, and literally until like 5 years ago.
I don't know if it's a stigmatism. I mean, I don't, but maybe it is, right? I'm pretty sure if I put atheist on my application for Hobby Lobby, I'm probably not going to get picked up at a job. But you're right. I remember working at a place in South Carolina once. The first time I think I ever publicly told somebody I was an atheist, it was just in the coffee break room. And it was this young black girl, and they were talking about what churches everybody went to, right? And of course, got to me, and I said I'm an atheist, and her eyes got like as big as the woofers on my speakers, right? And she's like, and she actually with a straight face or a shocked face, she goes, "You worship Satan?" That was her honest to God response. That's what she thought atheism was. So maybe there is a stigmatism to that.
I know where big stigmas were coming into the 70s were anything that was socialist or communist.
Oh, yeah. I'd get you on a list.
Hmm.
Would it be safe to say that in certain ways there's stigma against religious people as well?
How so?
Well, okay, I'll use myself as an example. When I was a kid, that I got beat up in school all the time, and not because I was some kind of preachy, in your face kind of person. Like they just knew that I was a Christian. They knew that my parents were Christians, and they ran a local service station, and it would be nothing to be bullied during lunch hour and have people jump on me. And I was a good sized lad, and I guess I could take it, but I would never punch back. And I remember one time there was this new kid in school, and the way that the bullies were showing off was to cut down some bushes back in the woods in back of the school, and they hunted me down and whipped me with them. So
Wow.
yeah.
Huh. That's
That sucks, man.
well, it's it is funny that you mentioned. Well, not funny. I didn't mean that, but it, it it is ironic to me that if you had asked me if religious people were stigmatized, I would immediately say no, and yet if you ask most religious people, they have this sort of persecution complex, that they literally think the entire universe is out to get them at any given turn.
Be us. Well, I think our perception is going to be a little different here since we're heavily engaged in these chats.
Mm.
But maybe out in the 3D world, it might be a little bit different. I mean, let me ask you this, like Colin, like say your own business and your clients, that maybe your clients are going to be mostly Christian, and perhaps say the discussion comes up. Would you be hesitant to say you're an atheist in fear of not getting their business?
Okay, so I'm going to answer that question in a very practical manner. I have a client now that sends me a monthly check to do work, and they typically send me a little note every month with a check. So this is the one I got this month. and so but to but to answer your question directly, normally I certainly wouldn't bring it up on my own. I just has nothing to do with my work, so there would be no reason for me to bring that up.
Is your client Sticks?
What?
Look, it's still a nice sentiment. They're still thinking good.
Oh, absolutely, and she's a wonderful person. But we did have that conversation, but we just kind of stumbled into it.
The multicolored note, though, it's reminiscent of "I love you. Do you love me? Check this box."
She's a sweetheart, but so that's probably the only client that I can think of. But I certainly would not bring it up as part of
Right.
without somebody that I didn't really sort of implicitly already trust, and we had a good working relationship. But I still, even there.
I don't know I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking it might be the case. I had I don't discuss my work, but I had a client. It was the church, and I did regular business for them on an annual basis.
Mhm.
And I pretty much got their business because I was a Christian at the time.
Yep.
And then I think there was one time it came up with, and then my beliefs changed, and so all of a sudden I didn't get a call the next year, and then I'm wondering if me bringing up my not being a Christian and being a theist and stuff like that had swayed their opinion and stuff. So I don't know, I can't say, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's hard to say.
I would guess probably yes,
Mhm.
but I
Yeah.
think you knew that.
Well, but that begs an interesting question. So, when you I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm not trying to derail the convo here, John. So if you want to drag it back, that's fine. But I was
It's
just going to
okay,
say,
if we could go a good hour on the conversation. I mean, I did put a link in the chat. There's some other stigmas we haven't touched upon. But I would like to go if we can go like a good hour or so, and then if we change it, that's fine. I'm gonna keep it going live. So
okay. Well, it was just a quick. It was just kind of touching base on that sort of the opposite side to that is that a lot of times atheists, in one form or another, will express this idea that people who believe in God, you know, to be nice, maybe have lack the ability to think clearly, right? Or their views are muddled. That's to be nice, and to be cruel, they're morons, which I think is way over the other way. But but that's a good question too. Is what if you're an atheist and you have a business and you need a contractor or to do some work for you, and they're a theist? Should I dismiss them because I don't think they have the ability to think rationally? right? Because we're always worried about them getting rid of the atheists because we're not Christians, but shouldn't
I,
does that also play the other way?
I think you're going to find the best person for the job, regardless of what their faith is or lack of faith. And I think most people that, I could be wrong on this, but I'd like to believe that most people that are religious aren't going to throw their religion into whatever job they're doing. I mean, when you're, whatever, building a house or drywalling or whatever it is, I don't think rely on divine intervention to do that sort of thing.
No, but I wonder if atheism is the exception, right? I mean, if I'm I don't know, if I'm Protestant, you're of course, and I got to hire a carpenter. I don't care if you're Catholic, Jewish, Buddhist. None of those matter. But if you say you're atheist, I wonder if that does have a very special stigma to it.
It's a poison well.
Maybe, maybe.
Well,
Um,
another anecdote from my own little history here. The the I have done the same job basically since 1988, but at that time I was categorized as in a different relationship with the company that had the contract for the customers that we handled.
yeah.
And so instead of me being an owner-operator, which I am now, at that time I was an agent, which meant that I didn't get perks and I didn't get paid as well. And usually the routes that I did were not they weren't great routes. When I applied for a position as an owner-operator, it meant that I would be working out of a different office than I was before. And because somebody at the other office knew that I was a Christian at the time, or no, I'm sorry, knew that I used to be a Christian, but was still at that time quite religious in terms of being willing, like talking about God and stuff like that. Like I never had any qualms doing that, but you can ask anybody that worked for me. I've never been an in-your-face kind of person with that stuff. It's always been, if somebody finds out that I have an interest in those things, they might approach me, but I've never been one to go evangelizing or to try and target anybody for a conversation. And this person, because of their interest in trying to promote their ideas to other people in the organization, gave them the impression that I was also religious like they were. And the word that I found this out several months after going to work at this new location, that there was a campaign on by people in that office to not hire me for that position because they didn't want a religious person there.
Hmm.
And the reason why I found out about it was because after I was there for a number of months, one of the people that worked there came to me and they said, like, well, you're nothing like what we thought you were. People had told us stories and stuff like that, and these were things that were being made up. I still have no explanation for why they did that, but just on the basis that they had been told I was religious, they did not want me in that office. So it is. So I mean, it is there.
Okay. Oh, fair enough.
How about another stigma about like obesity?
Well, Sky Daddy mentioned that when he was a kid, he was pleasantly plump.
There's a nice euphemism.
He was big boned,
Big boned, healthy.
chunky.
He'd eat well. Yeah,
Yeah, he was well fed,
he was well fed.
and I was one of those persons as well. And I don't doubt that also helped feed into people's willingness to bully me, because it was not just the fact that I was religious, but I was also a little on the overweight side. I wasn't like grotesquely rotund or anything like that. But I was certainly would have been one of the larger kids in my class.
Not quite Friar Tuck then.
Right.
Okay.
Mm.
And even now, like when you, I know having heard the stories come out of the kind of proposals or the new laws or bylaws that are being proposed and passed in New York about food.
Yeah.
The food Nazis,
Yeah, no big drinks for you guys.
Yeah.
Well, that and having to pay for 2 seats on the airline.
Yeah. So it's still apparently if you're overweight, you're still allowed to be targeted. Everything else has become taboo. You're not allowed to make fun of people that are have are gender different,
Right.
and you're not allowed to make fun of people who wear turbans and things like that. But you are allowed to make fun of fat people.
Yeah, well, unless it's Oprah.
I think somebody once said it's because fat people won't get together and march or riot or,
They'll
form.
freaking sit on you.
Yeah, but my point is they won't come together and, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't there even a...
It's called stigma.
Thank you. Did Caesar even say that at one point? Wasn't there something, as I recall, back there in one of those about, he was more fearful of the guy that was lean and than he was, a rotund enemy. There was something back there. I don't remember. Okay, never mind. That was lost.
Yeah, and J-Dub says in the chat, stigma on the poor is very prevalent. And I think that, I mean, I know that we've talked about food stamps and things like that, but even people that don't use those services and just live in the wrong neighborhood or their house looks shabby or things like that. Because even when I was young, we knew who the poor kids in school were, and they were treated differently.
Yep, very much so.
There was that whole social pressure of having, the right pair of jeans and the right sneakers. If you didn't have brand sneakers on, you couldn't afford them.
Yeah, now it's the phones. The smartphones are a status symbol in elementary school.
I don't even have a smartphone, but that's a different story.
So
of course you have a smartphone. Don't you have a Mensa phone around there somewhere?
I don't. I've got a little I sold my little John's phone and it just dials. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't even have an LED on it.
My phone's part of my Mensa group.
Nah. If I get a message, they send it to me in code. They just, smoke signal 0 and 1s and we figure it out. Oh man.
And we didn't actually touch probably one of the more obvious ones.
What was that?
Color of skin.
Huh. Is there any stigma associated with that? That's facetious.
No.
Oh, there we go. Good response. All right. Yeah. But
matter of fact, I went to the store today to go get a sandwich, and this black, I would say he was a kid. I would say he's about late teens, early 20s. Comes in with a knapsack, and I know the owner there. We're very friendly, and I've been in there before when another person would come in, and I didn't get the same reaction I get now because the kid goes towards the back of the store, and the owner, while he's making a sandwich, he kind of gets my attention, and then he does the motion, with the fingers to go, look out for me to make sure he doesn't steal anything. And I'm like, that's really kind of messed up. I'm like, you're profiling, man.
Well, I had a conversation though with Hermine. Most of you guys maybe know Hermine. I don't know, a black woman that's on here, and we were discussing this whole concept of, I don't know if this applies to other stigmas or not. I'm trying to think if it does, but most people would agree, right, that we shouldn't be treating people differently based on the color of their skin. Okay, but yet, and we also would agree that in the past that that we certainly did, but it seems to me counterproductive to try to now drag everybody to the opposite end of the spectrum. National Association of Advancement of Color People, so forth and so on. It seems like instead of trying to get to a neutral place where color is transparent, when no one notices, we want to make a. It seems to me, I was talking to her, it seems like you're working against your own best interest. It's like you are making a point out of the fact that your color is different. Yes, granted, you're asking everybody to see it. You're trying to demonstrate that you're proud of your color, and there's nothing wrong with it. But nonetheless, you're making it stick out. And the whole goal, I think, that we're trying to shoot for is that we don't even notice what color you are. Now, do we do that with other stigmas as well?
I can't speak to the situation in the U.S., but I know in Canada, even the hiring practice of government agencies or the government themselves has quotas, and they need to be filled by various minorities, including black, natives,
Right.
and females. And that when you go into these offices, it's very obvious. And there are some corporations that have similar hiring practices as well.
But I mean, and I know I'm not the first person to ask the question, but is that not really reverse discrimination?
Well, it is, because they're not being hired specifically because they fit what the job requires. That the primary concern is that they fit the profile.
Yeah, or maybe it's that we have several candidates who are all equally qualified, but then then the selection comes down to, well, we need a Puerto Rican, or we need a black person, or we need a Native American, and so they're the ones that get the job or get the promotion. Yeah, it seems that we're doing the wrong thing. It's like two wrongs don't make a right. I understand that there shouldn't be discrimination in the hiring process. But we've gone too far now. We're not even allowed to discriminate on the basis of ability. Everybody die?
Nope.
No,
Okay.
no. I'm just gonna. I got a message here. Joseph Stackhouse. He wants to get a link. So what I'm gonna do? I know we only have a couple of viewers out there. Well, I'm going to put.
What's his name?
Joseph Stackhouse.
Sure, it's not Jason. Not related to Suki.
No, Joseph Stackhouse.
Oh, never mind. True Blood reference. Okay, never mind.
Anyway, links going into the event page if you want to join. Sounded like you said Suzuki. Did you say Suzuki?
I said
No.
Suki.
Suki Stockhouse, he's talking about True Blood. It was a terrible joke.
Yeah, but it was a great series.
How
It is.
Speaking of Suzuki, though, I haven't seen him in around. Suzuki Das, where's he been around?
I haven't seen him for a few weeks now. No.
Yeah.
What about gingers?
Which gingers?
There's a stigma for you.
Bald people.
Gingers. That was never a stigma for me. I've always heard people say that, but I never
Gingers. What's
experienced
that?
that in
Are you
my.
kidding? They have no soul.
Whoever said bald, that's a great one.
Thank you, us bald guys. Well, it's
Yeah.
cool now. Well, yeah, I guess it is cool now, but it wasn't always, was it? The age of bad comb-overs.
Oh, it's cool as hell now. I call mine a solar panel for a sex machine.
I have a T-shirt that says "I'm not going bald. I'm just getting more head."
Oh.
That's fucking awesome.
I remember a comedian saying, "So my forehead's receding. How far can it go? To the back of your neck, and then it stops."
That's pretty much it. Actually, it seems to get compensated. It's like it's leaving from the front, but it's growing up from the back.
John May.
Hey, John.
And now the real bills. And there's Joe Stackhouse. Hey, Joe. What's up?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
We're covering stigmas.
Very cool.
I was just gonna, yeah. It must be really cool having Suki as a sister, man. All right, I'll let that go. Never mind.
I hear that everywhere I go.
Yeah, I kind of figured that wasn't the first with that one.
And I don't even watch the show.
Shame on you.
And then they're like, "Oh my God, how do you not watch the show?"
The words out of my mouth there. She's a looker, no doubt. All right.
Joseph, John, I don't know how long you've been watching. We're talking about stigmas. What happened to John May? He dropped out.
He'll probably be back.
I don't know if you wanted to add anything to the conversation, or maybe a stigma we haven't covered.
I actually have only watched for like the last minute.
Okay.
Well, here's one I didn't mention my first one, right? Anybody else in the room left-handed? That used to be stigmatized, at least with parents and children back in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
I remember several nights with my dad trying to make me write with my right hand.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Didn't they try to force kids to write right-handed for a long time?
I did.
Yeah, we talked about this before because especially in the Catholic schools they would do that, and I believe it came from a religious belief that doing anything with your left hand was considered evil.
Yeah, the left is evil.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now Don May reminds me, alcoholism.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right.
Oh dear.
Drug addiction, right? Now it's like,
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, that's that. The link I shared that was I think part of the list of social stigmas. Yeah.
Okay, guys, it's bedtime for me. It was a good time. You guys have
Good night, sir. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Press, always nice, buddy. You have a good night.
Thanks for dropping by, Prescott, man. Have a good night's sleep.
All right. Ciao.
Ciao.
Take care, man.
You know what else was stigmatized back then? Women actually holding a job I believe, was stigmatized for a while. Women that worked outside of the home.
Okay.
Then we finally realized it wasn't so bad having them out of the house for a while, and the stigma went away.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like the stigma related to HIV and AIDS is starting to slowly get better.
Oh, that's another one. Is it? That's interesting. Is it getting better? How do you?
Yeah, it used to be pretty much, if you had, the disease, then you were obviously, involved in a subversive culture.
Yeah, you were a degenerate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we understand that, you can get it in any number of ways. Not all of them involve, being on the seedier side of life.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it's a life-threatening disease, just there for a while, it was really, really bad for people even seeking help.
Yeah, you might as well have had Ebola or something and been walking down the street.
Yeah, socially cut off, medically cut off. That had to be hard in the beginning.
Well, I mean, in the list, and I mean, this is not a disease that's I'm sure it's still around, but I mean, leprosy. These people were ostracized from society.
Yeah. I probably would still think twice about inviting a leper over to dinner. I don't know. I'd have to go look up leprosy and read a little bit about it again.
Basilicus leprae, from what I understand, it's very rare that it's transmutable, and mostly very young kids are susceptible.
Huh.
I could be completely wrong on that. I remember reading it years ago, only because I was looking at the biblical cure for leprosy and trying to figure out how waving a magic wand with dead bird blood would, cure it.
Hmm. You were
Here's another.
mentioning.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say when you were talking about left-handed before. Actually, we get our word sinister from left, the Latin word for left. So when you go into your doctor's office and they do you don't have glasses yet, John, but when you go in there, all right, you always see them on the prescription. It says OS and OD, which is oculus sinister and oculus dexter, so left and right. So the word sinister itself comes from the word left.
Interesting. Well, it goes back to the thing about,
It goes way back.
evil deeds with the left hand.
Yep.
Uh-huh. How about having a criminal record?
Ooh.
I think that's still pretty much stigmatized.
Yeah, it is. I have a couple friends that can't find gainful employment because of that.
Exactly.
Well. Yeah, that'll. I'm going to not comment there because that's going to get me on my soapbox, and then we'll be lost.
Equal opportunity employment is not what it seems.
Yeah, I think I know where you were going with that, Carlton, and I'm with you 100%. You
Well,
can't get back to normal society if you're not treated like a normal citizen.
in a past life, I'm a software developer. I worked for one of the largest background check companies writing the software to do that stuff, and of course now I didn't really even think about it, but now yeah, I've got a real problem with it on a lot of different levels. One, like you said, if we expect people to be, if we think they're rehabilitated and we want them to reintegrate into society, you can't very well do that if you got somebody running around behind you with a red flag waving it everywhere you go for a job interview. The other side to the coin is you would be amazed at how many false hits people that get denied jobs simply because their name pops up and it has nothing to do with them, right? They just have a relatively common name. HR departments, yeah, they're supposed to come back and say, well, this guy's applied for a job and it says he's got a hit. They're supposed to have somebody go run down the courthouse and actually make sure it is this guy. Is this social? Is it the same person, or could be any John Smith, right? But they don't. They got 300 people applying for the job. They just take the guys to get the hit and throw those resumes in the trash can and move forward. So there's that whole thing sucks, I think.
Here's a modern stigma. People who refuse to get patted down or full body scanner or whatever at the airports now.
Is that a stigma?
Opt out. Yeah, I think they're looked on pretty funny now. Well, by security, most assuredly, but I don't know what the view is from the average passenger. I think with the amount of fear and suspicion that's constantly being pumped through the media, that a lot of times if you see somebody opting out or acting suspicious, because, I don't know, dude, seriously, it's ridiculous in the airports, and I think if you stand up for yourself and say this is not how human beings should be treated, I think it might draw a stigma on you.
Yeah, I mean, really, what's the poor Russian girl do? Whose name is I'm a bomb. She can't really say that when she goes to the airport and they ask who you are. Yeah, without getting in a whole world of shit. I always thought that it would be rather humorous to stick out in some way, but I always seem to have a connection that I need to make, and I'd rather not have to. Ooh, what are we drinking there?
We're going to have some Red Stag and Coke.
All right.
Dragon Cool.
But
how about his one? And I kind of, I don't know, I kind of get the sense here, but I'm in Pennsylvania, right? And I used to live in New York, and the native Pennsylvanians here, a large part of them despise New Yorkers because they kind of came in here, started populating here, and the overdevelopment started, and so New Yorkers kind of get stigmatized as well. I don't know how many times I hear, oh, you pointed out for your accent or something like that.
But I've never had anybody treat me badly because they thought I was, well, I'm in the South, so I was a Yankee. But I've seen the other part, right? The person who's from Alabama or Mississippi, especially with a real thick country drawl, um, they get stigmatized as being stupid right out of the box.
Well, there was like an article in the local paper over here about driving, and I saw some of the remarks, and they were like saying, "Yeah, there's the New Yorkers, they drive like maniacs and stuff like that," and and I'm sure Pennsylvanians can drive just as reckless as well, but I don't know.
It's kind of weird. When I was a kid growing up on the beach, this is for no particular reason story, but I was a kid growing up on the beach when I was like 10, 11, 12. Every summer, I remember weekends would be busy, right? Because all the people would be coming just for the weekend out to the beach. And some of the streets would get, some fair amount of traffic, and we'd always be waiting to cross the street with our bikes. And for whatever bizarre reason, nobody would ever let us cross except the cars that had Massachusetts plates. And I don't know why, but the people from Massachusetts, it was like I think of people from Canada now. They were just nice. They stop and they would let us cross. Everybody else would just as soon run us over. So, yeah.
Well, I want to say, hey, Michael Wayman. Welcome to the Night Owl.
Hey, brother John.
Hey, you
How
see
you
the
doing?
topic? I'm doing good.
Is Carlton saying Canadians are nice? How you doing, Carlton?
Canadians are so nice, Michael. They are just, right? It's like Due South. It's like that TV show. Yeah, Canadians are so polite.
A topic up, as you can see, is stigmas of the past or present. Any thoughts, Michael Wayman, on stigmas? I don't know how much of the broadcast you've caught so far.
I just popped in, man. So what do you guys been on at?
What have we been on?
Oh, no. Well, no, I know what you're on. I said gnawing on. You're high on love. Did anybody bring up divorce?
Yes, that was one of the first ones. Yeah, I actually started out with that. Noticed as when I was a kid, it was like very hush hush if you got a divorce, and now it seems to be kind of commonplace, and there's no stigma to it, should you say?
Yeah. See, I think of divorce lawyers.
Mm.
I think of broken families and lawyers draining people dry of their money and the courts. I've seen many a wonderful family broken up through that. So I don't know. Yeah. What else have you discussed?
Oh, we discussed a whole list. Bankruptcy, being on food stamps, wearing glasses, obesity.
Smart.
You guys do smoking? Like
Yes.
that's becoming huge now.
Yeah, this is a big stigma.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How about smoking marijuana? Is that a stigma?
Yep, we passed through that too.
Not in Washington State.
Anything you guys maybe experienced personally, or something you could share, I don't know, from past or with parents or something like that? I'm talking to Michael and Wayman since they just came in the room.
Yeah.
Drinking beer on camera? Is that
That's okay. I got some hard liquor.
I hope not. I wouldn't be able to come on.
We're also going to do something a little bit different. Again, for those who are just starting to view, we're going to let the broadcast run longer, even if we change the subject, because sometimes we really get into some interesting conversations off air, and we regret not recording them. So we're just going to let it go. I know we've gone a little bit over an hour on the subject, which satisfactory to me. So if there's nothing else you want to talk on the subject, kind of leave it open right now if you want to change the subject, and I'm gonna make note of it and put it in the video description, on the live feed for YouTube. So yeah, just throwing that out there. Yeah.
And a hush falls
And
over
a
the
hush.
crowd.
There's a kind of hush all over the world tonight.
Mm.
Well, I think that what's
Hush.
pretty fascinating is sometimes, especially if you're an evangelical missionary, you would want to be part of the stigma of being Christian, um, even though you would probably be persecuted. But then that's a good thing. If you're in church, you'd hear, oh, you're being persecuted for Christ. Go out there. So me and my wife, the other day, we were driving and we said, oh, there's a Jesus person. And it wasn't a Jesus person initially, like it was their car. And it was a sports car. It painted right on the side, it says Jesus. And then like John 3:16 or something on both sides. And I got pictures on my cell phone. But there's this other guy I work with, I think I already mentioned that before, who has memory verses all over his car. He has a big loudspeaker on top, and everybody in our community knows him. He hangs out at Walmarts and stuff like that, and he evangelizes and stuff using this. He's got kicked out of parking lots. So I guess that like that kind of stigma, you almost invite it because then you can preach a sermon. It's like, oh, I kind of wish somebody would come over and ask me. So I'm wearing this shirt right now. It's my favorite campsite, but you can see it has the fish on it. And people are like, oh, why are you wearing that shirt? You're a non-believer, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I support it. It's a good campsite. And they support kids and family and community and all that kind of stuff, even though they're part of, the Methodist organization. They aren't as fundamentalist as some other groups, So I always go to their camp and whatnot, buy their T-shirts, But that really doesn't have anything to me. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I do because I'm really worried. Somebody's going to come up to me. And I remember one time we're at Wegmans supermarket. I said this on video. We're probably a lot. Anyways, love Wegmans. Put that out there. And they're like, oh, nice shirt. And it's like, what's that supposed to mean? And then ended up having this pretty good conversation about why I was a non-believer wearing a shirt. I said, oh, the fish is Pisces. I said, what? Yeah, fish is Pisces. You didn't know that? So that's the way I get out of it. But even if I wore this shirt, say for example in an atheist like hangout, you'd be pounded because automatically you'd be thought of as Christian when, maybe they didn't watch all your videos or really know you, and until you start talking and get to know them and be like, sometimes I wear it for fun, but I don't like displaying their name because I don't want it to be a bad connotation on them, or bad press for them, because they're a really good place to do summer camping and whatever. And yeah, so that's about wanted stigmatism, welcome stigmatism working in a positive way. If you're like, oh man, I really hope somebody, you're wringing your hands over it. Really hope somebody asks me, that way I can share the message of Jesus today, And on the other hand, negative, where it's like, I don't really want to be associated, but they have nice clothes,
Yeah, I get the stigma all the time when I wear this shirt that I'm a stoner, just because I got
I think you're a free-thinking, wonderful man who likes to drink milk and not work a lot.
Want to welcome Rob and Frank to the room. How you doing?
G'day, mate.
You see the subject of the day,
Nah,
stigmas. On stigma.
So Rob, he's stigmatized for being Australian, right? You Australian, Rob?
Yes, mate. Stigmatised. Oh, okay. So you mean like a classification, Christian, Islamist, all that sort of thing?
Well, more like social stigmas. Like in the past, divorce.
Bible
Okay.
thumpers.
So where society might have a biased view of you because of circumstance.
Yeah, exactly. I'll put the link again in the chat about different social stigmas.
Long
Um,
hair,
yeah.
hippies.
Have you
And
discussed yet?
yeah,
Have,
perhaps Frank might address this one, and I don't think we touched upon it too much. People with mental illnesses.
Hey, hey, hey.
Well, me.
have you discussed how bullying is closely related to stigmas?
Oh no.
Well, we definitely talked about getting whipped with switches by other kids.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I mean, we definitely have touched on bullying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Any experiences anybody who especially just came into the room would like to share?
No.
Like with Bob Marley, that kind of experience? What you mean? I saw Rita once. Rita Marley, saw Ziggy. No? Sorry.
Okay. Or we can change the subject. Again, we could change the subject if you like. I was just throwing it out there for the people who just came into the room. So,
How
you know,
about polygamy?
no, no.
Polygamist. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that has a big stigma attached to it.
It does. I tried to have 5 wives. My wife almost killed me.
So I think since the show here, Sister Wives on A&E, like
My
that
favorite
kind of
show.
changed the view of polygamy. I think towards the mainstream. Because as you watch the show, like you're sympathetic towards them. They're running around, it's unlawful, this and that. And I think that kind of put it more into the mainstream than it was. You know what I mean? Like that show kind of humanized it to a lot of people in certain ways.
So, John, why do you think social stigma is a topic of? Why does it interest you?
It was just a thought that came through, that was passing through my head today, and I try to, like to have some kind of topic just to, you know,
Yeah.
get the room going, kind of put things in momentum, get people to come in and stuff. So it was just a passing thought, and I figure, just throw it out there and.
What's your thing about it as a phenomenon? What's your conclusion or your position or? I'm just interested in why it interests you, or why it even.
I mean, okay. Like I shared when we first opened up, I was just thinking about how two things specifically have changed since I was a childhood. Two things that were a stigma in the past that are not so much now. And I put it in the description as well. And those two things were divorce and bankruptcy. Okay. Also, people who had to, who are on food stamps too, was a big stigma. I remember being a kid. So I don't know why those things kind of passed through my mind today. I was just thinking about it, and I saw how the trend has changed, and so I figured that's a good topic. Yeah.
So you're saying that for you as an observer, they were a significant thing and they're less of a significant thing, those three now? Is that what you're saying? Or
Yes, I would say so. Well, with the thing with food stamps is it's more hidden now. It's not at least here in the States. When I was a kid, they had you used to see people with would have the food stamps written across it. You'd give it to the cashier, and I'm sure it brought a certain amount of shame to probably to some people because the person behind them would see them do it. The other thing when related to that is if you think back in the Depression times, they didn't even have the food stamps. You had the food lines, so it was very out there in the public. You can see there was a problem. Now you have probably more people on government assistance than even in the Depression. Here in the States, it's like 45 million people, but it's not you. It's though the statistic is out there, but when you go to the store, they change the name of the program, and plus, if you're on assistance, you're giving a card that pretty much just looks like a credit card, so it's not kind of in your face. Also,
I've seen people at the checkout, though, still get that look of shame across their face when the cashiers ran something as credit, and then they have to ask the person, hey, is that EBT? And some people actually get ticked off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have sympathy towards that. My family, my dad worked at a steel mill making auto parts, pouring hot metal into molds and stuff like that for auto parts and different things, casting and all that. And first he was injured because a mold broke open, went across his foot, and of course, workers' comp and safety regulation stuff weren't like they were today. So he had to go to the hospital, skin graft, the whole works. And he was off for a while. And then the mill closed. And my parents had to do that until he found work. Like, my dad was constantly finding work. But I think what the government does, for better or for worse, like I know that there are people on there that abuse the system, but there are people who are legitimately on there temporarily for good reasons. And I know one individual who paid it back. After he got a job, he paid it back. And the government's like, oh, you can use it. You don't need to give us money. He's like, no, I'm doing my part. I'm paying it back. But the thing is, like, we don't talk about all the corporate food stamps that we give out. We don't talk about the oil subsidies when these companies are making record profits and our taxpayer dollars are still funding those. It's insane. I bet you that more money goes to corporate welfare than to human welfare. Definitely. It's crazy how much we subsidize stuff that no longer needs subsidizing just because they have the money to lobby government, buy politicians, legalize bribery. It's insane. So, like, I think the government builds it in. So, like, if you feel shame, I don't want everybody to know I lost my job and I'm temporarily down and I need to, like, go to Aldi's and shop for, like, with my $20 food stamps to get a whole grocery cart of stuff. I remember me and my wife, when we first got together, we were only on $40 a week for a food budget. And we shopped at places like that, and it was not healthy at all. You're eating processed foods, all kinds of stuff right out of college, It's bad.
Can we change the subject for a sec? Would that be okay?
No.
I wanted to talk more about polygamy.
No, we said no.
And hi, John. I love you, John.
Yeah, no.
I have deep love for you, John. Oh, and I love Sky Daddy too. Okay, so back to polygamy, because we were talking about what I was thinking about today, and John was talking about things he was thinking about, and I was thinking, how does one man satisfy 5 women? And I just like your thoughts on that, everybody.
Very carefully.
Go and do some field research, and then come back and report to the group.
I'll tell you what you do. You go down the sex shop, you go inside the sex shop, and you start buying up big, right? Take all the equipment home, right? And you say, bring it on, baby, bring it on.
For our viewers out there, you can obviously note that the change of topic, we're going to go in a total different direction right here.
Hey, I said, no, we can't change the subject, and he fucking did it. You let him get away with it. Now it's on for young and old.
John, are you talking like buying bulk? Is that what you're talking about? I'm a little confused. And can you use food stamps? Do you trade food stamps? What do you do? Please, this is very serious.
If you got 5 chicks coming over and you want to know the secret.
No, you have 5 chicks. You have 5 chicks. They're coming over, and they have like 17 children.
You put them on. You gotta be on a rotation.
6 bottles of Viagra, some Stay Hard cream, the whole fucking lot.
Michael.
I don't understand the. I don't understand the problem, Michael. It's 5 women. You have 30 days in a month. I don't understand. Put them on a rotation schedule or something.
Michael.
Now, John, is this something you've done yourself, or you sound very comfortable with this?
Michael, have you ever heard of the stinger?
Yeah, I mean, in the mid '90s, yeah, I got pretty wild. So yeah, I did a little.
You.
I did a little juggling in my day. Yes.
That's good. Well, that explains a lot. That explains a lot. I need to think about this for a moment. Go ahead, Sky Daddy.
Have you ever heard of the stinger?
I thought you said the stink. What? I've heard of the stink.
No, I will, believe me. I'm about to. The answer to your question, it's well.
Are you being serious for a second?
Yeah, it's
You're
two.
Vulcan. No, sorry. I got
Two in the pink. Yeah, I see where he's going.
Now we're being gross. You've been hanging around with John too
Now
much.
we're being gross. Now we're being gross.
I was being real. I was being real, saying, how does someone satisfy 5 women? John.
Where did you expect that conversation to go? That's a natural chain of dominoes, man.
When you're going out the weekend, you think you're going to get lucky.
Now, I thought what John said was more respectful. Both Johns, buy bulk and be patient or something. I can't remember.
Stay hard
I'll play
cream,
it back.
2 bottles of Viagra.
Put them on a rotation schedule, like the most sexist thing ever uttered in a night owl room. That's good, but what I said was offensive. Come on now.
Never said it was offensive. I said it was gross, I think. Did I say? Someone play the tape back. I can't remember.
Well, you got the lead role. You must have the lead role in a fucking porno movie.
Sky Dad, do you feel judged? I'm so sorry. Is that a stigma of yours?
Oh,
hey,
terrible.
we're back on topic.
Uh-oh.
Speaking of which...
Oh, now behave. Now behave.
I can't. She's here.
Hey, Michael, ask Hermione the question. Go on.
How does one man satisfy 5 women? What?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, okay, and you got into creams.
No, you got to ask the girl. She'll give you the tips.
No,
they were in polygamy. It wasn't just. Yeah, I know. That's what I do. I put my.
So John, this is the lesson you get for letting the video roll on, because now we just turned it into an 18 and above year old video and adult video. You're gonna have to put that on the YouTube channel.
Well, I did put that on the invite, but yeah, I guess. We got Ermine, you made it in. How you doing?
Did finally. I feel bad for whoever dropped out, but it seemed like an interesting topic.
You look like you're doing a TV show. I feel like I'm watching a TV show here.
How to iron your bed sheets.
Like the Home and Garden channel.
Yes, yeah. I'm not How to iron properly. How to iron drapes.
Every time I see her in a hangout, she's always doing something to her house or...
Boy, don't you think we should be... don't you think we should all be trying to get stuff done?
She's got a point.
She does. She does.
Instead of hanging out in chats for hours on end.
I'm getting my drink on. Does that count?
Oh, I'm going to do that too. Hold on a second. Let me get beer.
Oh boy. Booze and irons.
Do you want to hit
my bed sheets? They're all a bit stiff at the moment. Gonna start.
It's not from starch.
Starting to wash.
Maybe we should have stuck to the topic.
Yeah, it was Michael. I told you not to change the subject. And
Totally your fault, you son of a bitch.
And then you go on. I told you it'll go pear-shaped.
Well, you
Okay,
did.
can I change the subject? No.
You did ask if you could change the subject.
How about we talk about like what stigmas used to be stigmas, but now it's a stigma to actually believe in that stigma, such as, well, in culture nowadays, I feel like being homosexual is way more accepted, and the people that actually dislike that lifestyle are actually now the stigma.
I like that topic, but...
You want to go back to polygamy, don't you?
Well, I have another twist, and I just want the Johns to answer this, okay?
Just the Johns?
Just the Johns. Only Johns. Sorry, just on
Okay.
this one. Okay, because I know that this will be a great audience pleaser.
Mhm.
Okay? We were talking about polygamy. Now, what I think should happen is we have one wife, 5 husbands, and they have to do chores to be able to have fun in the bedroom.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I like that idea.
Now we'll have to go, and we'll call it John May's Castle of Pleasure. No.
You're breaking up on us, Michael.
Okay. Well,
I think he has a good idea for a new reality TV show, though.
I like this. Michael, can I move in with you and your wife? I want. No. I mean,
I'll do the dishes.
he thinks it's a good idea. I think this is a good idea. You know, his wife thinks it's a good idea. Look, I'm just saying that if you're putting this forth as a good idea, then you really got to be willing to go all the way with it, Michael.
I think he's trying to con his wife into have more sex with him, so he's coming up with these little house chores fucking scenario.
Don't you think that would be a great show? We do a twist on it.
I'm saying we could have a threesome, you, me, and your wife, and we could make a show out of that. Make it a live.
That's not polygamy. Oh, that's just plain fun, I think, for you. But
exactly. We could call it marriage. We call it whatever you want. I don't give a shit. Let's go.
I
Michael,
think I'm onto
respect
something.
both you and your wife. I'm just kidding.
I know.
You guys, any of you guys
I
watch?
open the door. I know.
You guys ever watch any of those shows like Wife Swap?
Yeah,
Oh
those are
my
intense.
God!
They're
Please
intense.
tell me that shit is scripted.
Right.
Oh, the devil! Remember that one? That crazy one?
Infamous, yes.
Demon possessed! fucking some of the greatest sound bites ever from that one episode. But yeah, that show's got it.
I remember one time there was this Jewish lady who moved in with a Christian fundamentalist family, and they took her to a pig roast, and they're like, "Why don't you eat?" And they're like, Jesus, the law isn't for everybody anymore. You don't understand. She's like, I'll just have salad, thank you.
I just wasn't sure if I was.
Who was that?
Oh, nothing. Listening to you and your jokes.
Do you have a house full of camera-shy people there, Hermine?
I wouldn't say a house full, just a couple of people who.
You can see them in the reflection on the window,
Yeah,
so they're not hidden like they think they might be.
As long as they're not pointing a weapon, we're good.
It's a ghost.
There's the creepy guy standing to your left.
Awesome.
Are those your husbands, Ernie?
That's it. She's found this.
That's it. She's already got her own.
Is it
Oh,
five
there
of
we
them?
go.
And do we get to watch?
Oh. Watch that.
Well, why
I
is she
just thought
ironing?
this was
them,
the
though?
show we were talking about.
I was just listening to you guys wanting more than one wife. Some just cracked me up because you haven't even the one, but you're ready for a second.
I don't think anyone here said they want
No,
more.
nobody said they wanted it at
That
all.
has
Oh, no.
never once been claimed. No one here said they could satisfy more than one woman or that it sounds like a good idea.
We were trying to figure that out, actually.
Clobbered them for it.
Very wise, my young Jedi. Plural.
And me, I have enough hard enough time. Let me see. How do I put it? Not pissing the one I have off. It has nothing to do with keeping her happy. It's about not making her very, very angry.
I think that's the case in most relationships, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
happy
yeah.
wife
Feminine.
is a happy life. That's all you got to remember. A happy wife is a happy life.
I think it would be easier to obtain a happy life with the fewer roommates as possible, as few roommates as possible. And I don't care, marriage, children, whatever. When the kids start getting out of the house, and that's better. Like quiet,
Well,
that's
Sky Daddy, the reason why they're getting mad at you is because you need to put clothes on when you walk around the house. You just can't walk around naked when people are home,
My neighbors get mad at me because I have to put clothes on when I go outside. I don't like to do that either.
I have a friend that doesn't join our conversations but often watches them, Sky Daddy, and he calls you the mental patient in the outfit.
Awesome. Awesome. I like your friend.
The other day, I invited him to watch one, and he was like, "Hey, is the mental guy there that's always in the blue jumpsuit?"
He's an outpatient.
Right, outpatient there.
That is law.
Yeah, this is the only time I really get to do stuff around the house, so I appreciate listening to the conversation and being involved with it to some degree.
I'm gonna go clean my toilet. I'll be back. You've inspired me.
Put it on camera. Take that camera with you.
Yeah, is it a laptop?
Don't clean it with your toothbrush.
Or your wife's, unless you're really mad at her.
Did you just move in, Hermine, or?
No, I'm just redoing some of the rooms. I moved in about a year ago, but I got rid of my roommate about 2 months ago, so I'm able to make it my house now.
Ah, I see.
I'm sorry, they moved out. Yeah.
I like the shade of blue.
Thank you, because all you guys made fun of it a couple nights earlier.
No, I like it.
I didn't make fun of it. I said I thought it was only around the windowsills, so I said I thought it was painter's tape. I wasn't making fun of it. It was just around the windowsills.
Brother John was like, ooh, you may want to change that up.
Yeah. Brother John. Went from you guys to Brother John.
I used to work at a place, and the walls were kind of like a blood red because it was the color of the company logo, and half the people there couldn't stand it. The rest of us just loved it.
Oh, blood red. Wow. Yeah, this is definitely a bold color. I'm really happy with.
So I'm sitting here in the chat, I'm looking at people on camera, and I can't help but notice how upset Green is. I'm hoping I didn't do or say anything to piss you off, brother.
Why would Green be pissed off?
Oh, you didn't hear? He was pissed off the other night. Oh, man, it got bad.
Look at him. He's beside himself.
He gets so freaking upset just at the drop of a fucking pin. It could set him off.
Rage-filled individual.
Oh, yeah. He's crazy.
Actually, they took away his license just from all the incidents of road rage. I'm not joking. He's got it rough. He's got to do metro or whatever to work.
I only got 2 minutes left here, so make it good.
Don't go! Don't go!
As you can tell, I'm at work, so.
Oh, I didn't know you work at night.
Yeah, it's a party night, audit.
Still working on shredding those papers.
Yep, pretty much.
So, how was your day there, Green?
It was awesome, actually. It was good.
Excellent.
That's it.
Michael went to go clean the toilet. Didn't you hear him?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he said goodbye in his weird Michael way. He went to clean the toilet and froze his camera.
That's okay. Half the time I don't say goodbye. I just hit the X. So.
Yeah, manners are different in Hangouts. Yeah. You wouldn't just walk away from a party quietly, but it's pretty easy to just click that red hang up button. All right, that didn't help.
I hate it when people don't just say goodbye. Especially when I know you, you're hanging out a while, and then it's like, boom, been gone. Hey, what happened?
You're over it for a little bit, huh?
What's that?
Talking about having a beer.
So you've been ironing the same curtain for a half hour now. We want to see what it looks like hanging up.
And I have 5 more to go after this one.
I thought it was a bed sheet.
It looks like a chain link fence.
Yeah, chicken fence. What is it?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
That pattern.
Hi.
There's a burglar in the house.
Hi.
He's coming back.
Good friend from Atlanta.
Hello, friend from Atlanta.
Hey, friend from
What kind of juice you got in your e-cigarette there, friend from Atlanta?
Pink spot.
All right.
He's gonna just sit back and watch Amin iron.
Which isn't so odd considering that's what we're doing.
Right.
It's a real life thing.
Right.
It's
Is
kind
this
of,
therapeutic drink?
yeah, I was just thinking it's kind of relaxing.
Pretty much. Now I have to go.
Bye, Reed.
Come back
Are
soon.
you
Rick.
coming back on when you get home?
I might. Depends how I feel.
Come on, Frank. We'll make you feel better.
I'm sure you will.
You know it's hard to stay angry around me, Frank. It's hard. Yeah, see that? Hey, look at that smile. Yeah.
Please, Frank, don't get mad. We don't like to see you getting mad all the time.
No, I'm not mad. I'm just a little anxious. Just waiting for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
He does
just
seem
that
down. I can hear it in his voice. He seems kind of disturbed.
No, it's a lot of paperwork.
Is that thing happening tomorrow?
It's happening for the whole week.
It'll be good when it's over, brother.
Oh, it's going to be great.
So your bosses will take the grunt of the damage, and then they'll come down on you, right?
Well, no, I'm not worried about my bosses. Boss is not the issue, it's the state.
Yeah.
I would recommend getting an ironing board and some curtains. It looks very therapeutic.
You know what I would say. I would recommend yelling at people on the internets.
Washing dishes does that for me. I don't mind washing dishes. It's kind of therapeutic.
I like painting whole walls.
Yes, that too.
I can't stand the smell.
Well, a lot of the newer paints don't have much of a smell.
No more, baby.
So I take it we're moving away from stigmatism?
Apparently.
Yeah, that's okay.
I thought my topic was a good one.
What's your topic?
The stigmas that have now, like homosexuality used to be a big stigma. And now it's almost like the people that still hate on people that are homosexuals actually are the stigma.
We kind of briefly touched on something sort of like that, which is that the stigmas have remained the same for a specific section of society while the rest of society has moved on.
Yeah, I think that would be a truer statement.
I need to click off of Hermine's little window here. I'm too busy staring at these curtains.
And
Yeah,
there's another guest.
Hi. Hello.
Your daughter.
Shy.
Hello, Mr.
You're wearing shorts and walking away. Hi.
We can see you. You're near the chair in the back.
Yeah, we can see you through the window.
We have magic powers.
You missed a spot, upper right.
Hermine's she's being stigmatized. See, they think it's a little crazy that she sits here and has people watch her iron.
Sprinkle some beer over it. It'll help get those creases out.
It's wild, though. She's not just in a chat room with people watching her. She's got a live audience as well.
Yeah. Hello, little girl in the red shirt.
You're pulling the blinds.
She's trying to make it so we can't see her.
You're twisting them shut. You're walking the other way.
Mom didn't raise
Is that so we can't see you, little girl in the red shirt?
Yeah, of course it is. She's going to go sit down underneath the light switch again.
We can see through the other window. It's okay.
This window's a better angle anyway, dear.
Haha, teacher, it's wrong window. Picture.
Don't be
Nice burns, man. I'm a connoisseur of some facial hair, man. Those are some good burns. I like that shit.
I'm thinking about changing mine up and losing the burns and the whole side beard.
Can you move the ironing board over a little bit so we can see what's going on?
John, put it away.
I'm going to close that one as well. Oh, no!
What's that?
Oh.
Is this... Oh, it changed.
It got dark. It got dark.
It's the angle.
Like showing us what him with
Is that-
beard.
His wife, or...
Oh, there you go.
There you go. That's why I don't do facial hair.
Ah, I see.
Very
Well,
nice.
I don't think the facial hair is so bad, but the feather hairdo, that one is hurting.
Jeez, that's
I
blinding.
think I found some like 1950s sounding music that will orchestrate the ironing very well.
Okay.
Well, you got to at least wait till she starts ironing.
Can you move the board over a little bit?
John, put it away.
Thank you.
Put it away, man.
Thank you, man from Atlanta.
It sounds like The Sims.
It is.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's hilarious.
Wow, he really called that shit.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Sorry, I just thought that was appropriate.
That was funny. That was good.
Do you know about Joseph? Do you know about Origin?
Origin.
It's a gaming.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, they're giving away Sims 2.
Actually, I got like all the Sims as part of a... I don't even play it anymore, but part of a Hummel bundle through Origin a while ago.
Gotcha.
We're definitely not turning this into a game chat. That's for sure.
Sorry. He did the Sims music. I just thought I'd drop some useful information on him.
If anything, let's get to politics and religion. Yeah. Our two favorites.
Wait. At least 2 more beers. I already don't know what I'm talking about when we get into those topics, but it helps me to have somewhat of an excuse.
So, Sky Daddy, what are you drinking? Pabst Blue Ribbon?
Budweiser.
Budweiser. He's always doing Budweiser.
Oh, piss beer. Ugh.
I got Sam Adams Republican beer here. I was so mad the day I discovered that Jim Koch and the Koch brothers made Sam Adams. So now I'm supporting Citizens United. How terrible is that?
Gonna go off cam, but I'll be right here. It's time to do the deed again.
Do the deed.
Sounds dirty.
Do I dare ask what the deed is?
Oh, John, so we got a new woo-woo avatar, huh?
Whoop whoop!
Oh yeah, by the way, I'm thinking of starting Woo-Woo Wednesdays. All the people who like woo-woo.
How about the people that like bashing woo-woo?
Well, then you're gonna have to find another day.
All right, so you're gonna have a bunch of like-minded people sitting there stroking each other's weirdness.
There you go.
Are we talking about Woo, the alcoholic beverage? Because otherwise I'm lost.
We don't do Halloween.
Woo-Woo's an alcoholic beverage?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's made of vodka, peach schnapps, and cranberry juice.
Do they use water, or is it a homeopathy kind of thing?
There's no water. It's just a cocktail.
So, I mean, you're not afraid of your woo being challenged, are you? Like,
No, we
You're
got
not.
plenty of other days. We got plenty of. We do that all the time.
No, I understand, but when you have a God talk room, you don't disallow atheists to come in.
No,
You allow
exactly, yeah.
people to come in and say, "Hey, wait a minute, I challenge this bullshit," and that's what you should do in the blue room.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a room with 10 deists all talking about the differences in their deism.
It's hard to find 10 deists. I think I only know of maybe 3 others. Hmm. So hold on a second.
Who defined a solid gold suit?
It's pretty easy to find an atheist that can say, "I was a deist for a couple of weeks." Pretty much get an atheist together at a convention or whatever, get a bunch of atheists together at a convention, throw a rock, and you're bound to hit someone that says, "Yeah, I was an atheist or a deist for a couple of weeks."
I think the same goes for Christians who are atheists who wrote books too.
Whew, that one got me in the getter.
So when those curtains are folded, does your partner or your husband or whoever help you fold the curtains like together and then back and like they do?
Oh, if you do it to slow music, it actually looks like dancing.
Can somebody inform him that I'm happily single?
She's happily single.
Have a good night, Rob.
Who?
I was going to say have a good night, Rob, but he kind of left, so I just cut it off.
Oh, wow. I was thinking of getting into a topic he probably would have cut out.
If you see me in those photos, I have actually about 10 suits.
We have way too many Johns in this room.
We always have way too many Johns in this room.
I try to help out. And I had to switch my name to John.
Well, I think if you're single, you could get anybody you wanted to help you fold curtains. That's not so bad.
Why would you fold a curtain? Yeah.
I think he's thinking about like the accordion fold that a lot of curtains have.
Oh, that's you gotta pleat it like that. You can't just fold it like that.
Actually, I didn't know what I was talking about, but thanks for the save there.
Yeah, because if you fold a curtain, you defeat the purpose.
I'm sorry. If I was wrong, I apologize.
That was awesome, Wayman. No, I have no idea what I'm talking about, so excellent, yeah. Sounds like fucking something I'd say.
How did those curtains get so many creases in them? What have you been doing over there?
They sell it like this? My God, you'd be here all day doing this.
She's ironing it wrong.
Yeah, I think you can see where they've been in a package.
Yeah.
She's ironing those creases into it.
Yeah, you don't iron the pleats.
Throw it in the dryer.
You know what? Throwing in the dryer would probably do it.
Stop folding it before you iron. That doesn't help.
I just want to know how to get freaking like shower curtain straight.
Oh, what's this chat about? Oh, it's critiquing ironing with the gang.
Yeah.
It'll be an 8-hour conversation.
Continue the discussion. I'm just in the background.
Today we'll be observing different ironing techniques from around the world.
Welcome.
And today on Picking Nits.
Google extreme ironing.
Welcome to Ironing with Ermine.
Single guy. No, you take you have to take an iron skillet, warm it up, and then you have an iron.
That does not work.
It does.
All right, so I got a serious question here.
Okay.
I heard from an interior designer that if you put bigger curtains in front of small windows, it'll make the appearance of having a bigger window behind it. Is that true? Is that what you do? Or?
That is very true. We actually have big windows, and we're trying to make them look a little bit wider. So you'll see what we do.
Well, how do you make them smaller? How do you make your windows look smaller? Put skinnier curtains in?
Paint color.
Hang a pair of pants in front of them, maybe.
But paint color to make them look small.
I think you would just hang a border across the top. That would pretty much do it. Because then it would be all window.
Or
Why don't you just brick it up?
why would you want to do those?
All right, so you don't put curtains over the shaded windows behind you, do you?
Yep. Well, not behind them, in front of them.
What about that window on your right there? What do you do about that one? No, you're right. Not your left.
Mirror.
Don't worry about mirror, mirror on the wall. What are you going to do about the window on the right?
I'm actually not going to do anything with that. I'm not putting anything in those windows.
Brick it up. Have a drink. Brick it up. It shouldn't even be there.
I actually think the blue wall would look nice with blue curtains.
No. Oh my God, this is why you're not decorating.
And blue curtains.
Black curtains.
That's it. Paint the other wall black. Give it that cinema look. Okay, yeah.
Looks like you need help. You should have your friend grab one in there.
That's what I was thinking. He's got all these other people around.
You're chilling.
Looks like the Sims giveaway ended.
Are those DIY curtain rods there?
Sure. Oh, these are awesome.
Yeah, they look pretty cool.
They are. I didn't want to spend a ton on curtain rods for these windows, so what I did is I went to the hardware store and just bought pipe.
Yeah.
Had them cut it to my specifications.
Very handy.
Nice.
Is that a Laura Star iron you got there?
Is it a what iron?
A Laura Star.
Is there a Wenta?
Laura Star. Do you want a hand? Hang on, I'll just help you. Hang on.
I love the accent and all these. Coming from America, the accent's great.
That's great.
Any question should be done in that accent.
Get it nice, yeah, that's it. Let the sun in now.
Missed the spot. Oh, she cut us off. Who did that?
That actually does make the window look bigger. Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, but I don't want the window to be big. I want it smaller. I want you to brick it up.
Well, you'd have to raise the shade. That would work.
You could effectively make the window disappear by hanging a painting or a mirror over it.
My OCD is being triggered by the draperies on the floor.
Yeah, they're gonna get dirty. Do you have cats? Do you have
I always have that problem when I'm vacuuming. I have to lift them up.
I love the look of them on the floor, and I just don't
I
know.
wonder if they were tied in the middle, if they would quit touching the floor so much.
I like it with them on the floor, so it's just hard to see.
I love that chicken wire look.
Like a chain link fence.
It makes me feel like I'm in the hen house.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks great. You stand back and have a little look. That's it. So stand there, have a look now. See? Mm.
Ermine,
Yeah.
Ermine, do you have any more company?
No, why?
Could you call some more people over?
Yeah, we want to see a party at your house.
You'll see one September 25th through the 28th.
You're gonna have a live chat going on for 3 days?
What do you think?
You're gonna post us all a link?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty huge. There'll be about 100 people here.
Go tell them not to talk all at once, all right?
What's the occasion?
We're having
Hello, little girl in the red shirt. Hello. Hello, little girl. Bye-bye, little girl.
You made her
Bye-bye.
blush.
Is that why you're redecorating for your big party?
I like curtains that drive.
Second thing would be
You're going to do the other one, or you're going to have a little bit of a rest?
Did you say I like Curtis and drag?
I'll take them down.
Sir, is your name Curtis?
That keeps it. Because I want it to stay on that.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, that's it. Good idea.
Don't do that.
See, what we can do is we can come to the party like this, and then we'll mute them and we'll overdub and make up things for the party.
Yeah, because they'll be there, and, you know.
that's the second time I got crabs.
Oh! You guys see how long it takes to do stuff.
I know, it's terrible. It's wasting so much bandwidth. Yeah, you're racking up the bills. Yeah, that's it. Keep looking at it. You want to draw? I'll take a picture. Good, no good. Still thinking about it? Do you want to go over and touch it, maybe? Go on, go and have a little play. There you go. Have a drink.
Are you going to put anything between the windows?
Go and see if anyone's looking in. Go on, have a look. See if there's any perverts looking through the window. Oh,
I thought I told you to put that away, John.
Sorry, I didn't hear that, Hermione. Sorry.
I thought I told you to put it away.
I can't hear Hermione talking. She's having a puff of. She's having a puff of a pencil stick.
Do you have any hash oil for those things yet? I mean,
Do I have any what?
hash oil?
Hash oil? Hell no.
You want some?
We talk about this. Weren't you going to get some?
No.
Where's the little girl in the red top? Where's she gone? Can you open up the other one so we can have a look? Open up the other window. Want to have a look?
Jesus Christ, you sound like a...
He is the pervert looking through the window.
Oh, hang on, let me just adjust my camera. Oh, yeah, there she is.
Let me create some
I
bandwidth.
can see her. I can see her. She's hiding there.
There you go.
Oh, no. That's not fair.
Now you're saving bandwidth.
That's shit now.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh,
Oh, come on. What happened?
I wanted to scroll you a little bit more.
Come on, put the picture back.
You killed our hangout.
He didn't have time to finish.
Oh, we want to see you do the next window.
Yeah, I want to see you do more chores.
Oh yeah, I'll be doing a ton of chores. You can get started.
Turn your camera back on.
Yeah, you got to have dishes to wash or something.
Come on, we won't play any more camera tricks on you. Come on. Please.
Be sure to tune in tomorrow evening for Bathroom with Hermione.
Next on Jermaine TV.
Oh, here we go.
Mm.
That's it. Fill it up. Well, that's a thirsty iron. Ooh, that's about as thirsty as me. I get thirsty too. And hot. What happened?
Hey, Wayman. I'm gonna change the topic here.
Little red girl come back to help.
We're gonna change the topic here.
What do you want to change it to?
You could go continuing voyeuring.
Apparently not.
What can we change the topic to?
No, I want. Wayman, you there? Ow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started reading A History of God, Karen Armstrong. Did you read that book? Well.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like
okay.
any of her books, like there's an excellent book she wrote on called it's called The Great Transformation. She wrote about Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Excellent. And she has a really good one on the Inquisition. It's called Holy War.
Well, no, I was reading the beginning and I thought something was interesting because I've heard of El coming out of Canaan.
Yeah.
And then I didn't realize that she mentions in here that Baal and Yam, according to the tablets, that date to about, what does it say here, 14th century BC. Baal and Yam both lived with El.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that interesting, and that could be part of the council, like, you know, when they say Elohim, council of gods, can refer to Baal and Yam.
Welcome to Canaanite History for 200.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, in the Baal epic, if you ever read anything from the Ugaritic texts, like you can find those online. Like just do a search for the Baal epic, and Baal actually, I think, Yam was Baal's uncle or El's brother in the pantheon. Like he has that height. So it's kind of like Horus fighting Set and, you know, taking the eye out and the whole thing. He also fights Mut, which is death. So Mut, in Hebrew, the word death is Mut. In Hebrew, the word Yam is sea. So here it was the sea god trying to swallow up Baal, and he employs another deity who's kind of like the Roman deity who makes things like furniture and all kinds of stuff. He made the shield of Achilles. I can't remember his name, but he's pretty famous.
Was it Mot?
Anthor Wahathis. Anthor Wahathis in the Canaanite legend. So he builds Baal 2 clubs to defeat death. And what's interesting, like death his mouth goes from the ground to the sky, so it's all encompassing, and it's pretty amazing. So in the Bible, where it's like he will surely die, or he will die death, temu, like that's death. That's like serpent kind of thing. And also in the Bible, what's related to sea and yam is also the tehom, or the waters, or the foul waters. Yeah, all that stuff's pretty amazing. So I think in Psalm, there was a Psalm where it says, I forget it now, probably because I had a couple beers, but it was about El standing in the court of El and judging. And it says, we will make you as men if you continue to judge unjustly as gods. And a lot of times that's changed to judges in the KJV because they don't like to think of the pantheon. But definitely the pantheon exists. And you also had it in ancient Near Eastern texts, like the atheists like to poke fun at the talking donkey. But the talking donkey was put in the biblical literature to poke fun at this popular diviner called Balaam. There's also an extra biblical text outside of the biblical literature of a prophecy of Balaam where this heavenly council makes a ruling, like in 2 Kings, who will go to Ahab, and the Micah has the council convene, and one spirit says this, another says that, and then a lying spirit says, I will go. So there's a similar example. So all those are very interrelated, and it is really amazing, like the connections that you can make. It's especially in older Psalms. It's pretty amazing.
I wish I knew what you guys were talking about.
Oh, it was all quiet. I thought it dropped the connection. I paused. Maybe I was talking too long. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It was good.
I think you were referring to Psalm 82. Or God presides in the great assembly and renders judgment amongst the other gods. Or I think the way it was.
Hey, Fiction Fighter.
Hello, Friction.
Hey, Fiction Fighter, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good.
How's everybody doing?
We're doing well. I am.
Hope I didn't interrupt. Carry on. I'll listen for a bit.
Okay. You said Psalm 82?
82. And again, it depends on which translation you read.
Yeah, the Hebrew translations say the New Jerome Publication Society Bible. They won't say that, but in the text, the scriptures, they do pronounce it as El. The actual name El, which is pretty interesting.
Oh, this is the same psalm that Jesus quotes in the New Testament too, right? Yep. I have said ye are gods. I think.
Well, the Bible makes a lot of references to Asherah, well, at least Asherah poles as well, which wasn't that El's wife at some point?
Yeah, I think Astarte was El's wife. Asherah was, let's see, it was Anat. She was the kind of like the war goddess who went to get Baal from death, or Ma, and lamented him. Asherah and Astarte were kind of, I guess, seen together because they were both goddesses. There's an Asherah pole that existed in. There's actually an article that BAR just put out not too long ago. It was called, well, it was archaeology that they found where it said to Yahweh and his Asherah. Now, I read two different articles on that, which is interesting. So some would say it was the goddess and all that, but others would say an Asherah would be a sacred grove. So that's how either the Rebbe's or the apologists get out of that whole thing, because an Asherah was also the name of a goddess, but an Asherah was also a name of a sacred grove. So if you had a sacred grove of trees, that would be called an Asherah, and an Asherah pole existed in the Temple of Solomon.
From what I understand, though, since they've been digging up the Ugaritic texts, they're starting to understand that the Asherah actually referred to the goddess and not to a tree or a grove.
So I guess that's what I meant by the apologists use that.
Oh, so, I see. My bad. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. But I guess that, you know, that association was even purged due to anti-assimilation policies by, say, King Josiah and Hezekiah and all those people who did massive reforms back when they believe the law code was found in the temple. This law code, some believe it was actually the book of Deuteronomy. They just cleaned house. It was insane. And like they took, you know, they burned all the Asherahs, all the Asherah poles. So I guess in Hebrew, even though it was the goddess's name on the other side, you know what I mean? In Hebrew, like, it could also mean the dual meaning of, you know, the sacred groves and the Asherah pole.
Why did you guys find those chairs? They're big. I really like that. I just I don't we just drop off. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think I made past videos on the Baal Epic, but any of Karen Armstrong's books are really good. Like, you know, like I've read quite a few of them, and I really enjoy it. It's kind of like anthropology, world religion kind of stuff, and she really takes the middle road on a lot of things. And there was this one, I think it was called, I read a while back, it was called The Existence of God or something like that. And she talked about, like, the definition or how you define it and the whole thing. It was pretty good, actually. Yeah, apart from the her book on the Great Transformation, she also wrote on The Battle for God, which talks about the different aspects of fundamentalism in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and all the issues between those three groups. So if you want to read, like, political history of religion and just get like an overview of religion in general, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, she's pretty good at. She wrote a book also on Buddhism, I think. It's called The Spiral Staircase or something like that. But she used to be a nun.
Okay.
Please continue. This is informative.
Yeah.
So the other book I'm trying to read is Zealot by Reza Aslan. He got nailed on Fox and he made him kind of popular because they're like, how can a Muslim write about Jesus?
I saw that episode. It was hilarious.
Yeah, but he's pretty straightforward. He came out with this other book, and I was reading at the time this Zealot came out because I love studying fundamentalism and all that crazy stuff. And he wrote a book Beyond Fundamentalism, and it came out republished. So like if the first title doesn't do very well, they republish it under something else. It came out, How to Win a Cosmic War, Globalization and the End of the War on Terror, which there is no end, because if it's a cosmic war and people view it as that, there's no end. Nobody can win a cosmic war. And that was an excellent book. I'm halfway through that, and I'm trying to read The Zealot. But the Zealot book isn't as informative as a Bart Ehrman would be. Like, Bart Ehrman's taken a lot of flack, but his books on Introduction to Early Christianity is excellent, as long as he doesn't talk about political stuff and pick on...
What the hell?
Like, as long as he doesn't pick on the mystics and people like that, because everybody was cheering him on when he was pounding fundamentalist Christianity with his work and his research. But then when he wrote against people who thought that Jesus was just a myth, they kind of disliked him after that. But man, when he wrote Misquoting Jesus, like, Muslims were picking up his books and using that against Christians, and it was just like a heyday. So the book Zealot isn't as quite as informative as that, but it gives it from the perspective of outside of the Christian realm, like a view of it. Because usually our views come from Christians or ex-Christians about Christianity, you know what I mean? But this was from a Muslim, and the view is a little bit different, and it's kind of refreshing, but it's not as in-depth.
Have you guys heard the latest rumor in the Palestinian circles?
Tell us what's going on there.
Oh, there's a lot of conversion to, well, not conversion, but there's a lot of atheism happening now. They're leaving the Palestinian faith, the Muslims and all that. It's awesome. They're finally getting some brains and thinking, and they're blaming the internet for it. Oh yeah, the leaders are scrambling. They don't know what to do. They think the young people are getting lost in information, and it's not good for their souls. They're becoming heathens, and they're trying to figure out how to put a stop to it.
Well, usually there's a war when Israel has an election or somebody's up for election, because they get tons of money, from the popular vote and also from Americans and American evangelicals who are like, oh, prophecy, blah, 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 let's send them bazillions of dollars. Hamas is broke. They couldn't even pay their own warriors. So to get in a conflict with Israel gets them money from Muslim countries and other Muslim provinces and states. Oh, the money rolls in. They roll in it. So they lob a few missiles. Everybody gets paid. And unfortunately, it probably went a little bit too far on the Israeli side with, but it's all money, and it's terrible that the leaders of both of those would allow that to happen, but it's an occupied territory, and they should have a two-state solution, but that's not going to happen as long as Israel's being supported by the United States and Hamas by Muslim countries,
Yeah. And it's not just the Muslim countries, though. It's the United States is also funding both sides.
Yeah, so we pay for the Iron Dome over Israel, and we also give aid to the Palestinians to rebuild.
Yeah, funny, eh? That's a fun day leaders
Sounds
for
like
you.
we just keep them busy.
We are in the weapons business.
Oh, we roll in it. We roll in it. Like, war contractors
Pretty
want
sad,
this
isn't
so bad.
I still think they should all be put to sleep for a little while, just till they wake up from a dreary dream.
Now just think how
Sorry,
different.
Daddy didn't like that.
Think about how different that conflict would be over there if we were, say, in the florist business instead of the weapons business.
Let's just send them flowers.
There we go. Flowers that'll put them to sleep. They made a toxin. Now we're thinking.
Lavender.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Get back to the hippie age. Peace.
Send them some of those poppies that we're protecting in Afghanistan.
Hare Krishna. I hear you, man. I hear you. Hare Krishna. Marley, did you finish your bone already? No way. We're munching on major ribs they saved for me. Isn't that nice of them? Oh, man, they're so freaking good. Mm. They saved me 4 huge racks for under $60, plus 2 big bottles of their winning sauce. Oh, they felt sorry for me because I had to work all weekend and today.
Yeah, so I got a really good deal. I got a really good deal on books. So that Zealot book, it's normally $24. I got it for $3 at the local library book sale. And because I didn't have any cash on me and I had to get $11 to use my credit card, I went and got a heap more books that I got a sweet deal on.
Very nice.
Hegel on tragedy, which was like $1. The Thomas Jefferson Bible.
Cool.
That's pretty good. And then Memories, Dreams, and Reflection by Carl Jung.
Yeah,
And
awesome investment there. Holy shit.
yeah,
You got a better
Moby
deal than I
Dick.
did. Oh, good old Moby Dick.
A new translation of the Aeneid.
The what?
The Aeneid.
What's that?
It's
What is that?
Written by Virgil. It's about Aeneas.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Oh, you got to look it up on Wiki.
Oh, sure. Make me work my fingers more today.
And then I got Infidel, a book on a lady who came out of Muslim faith and was
that would be excellent to read.
threatened. And then I got The White Goddess by Robert Graves. He's an awesome writer. He writes a lot about Greek mythology.
Oh, yeah.
And then Aesop's Fables.
Oh, you grew up on those stories. Aesop's Fables, eh? You should read us some. Read us something out of that.
And then Plutarch's Lives. So I got all that for like $11. You can't beat it.
Wow. You scored.
Grab that Aesop's. Grab that Aesop's back up again. Read us a little bit out of that.
You scored big time.
Yeah. I like the story of the lion and the mouse, where the mouse chewed the ropes off the lion, and I think the lion ate him, didn't he? Or am I mixing up my stories?
All right, so here it is, Aesop's Fables by Steve. This is the 1912 edition hardcover. We'll go to a short one. I don't want to bore everybody to sleep here. The Frog's Complaint Against the Sun. This is on page 29. Once upon a time, the sun was about to take himself a wife. The frogs in terror all raised their voices to the skies, and Jupiter, disturbed by the noise, asked them what they were croaking about. They replied, "The sun is bad enough even while he is single, drying up our marshes with his heat, as he does. But what will become of us if he marries and begets other sons?" That's the end. Sorry.
That was super short. You gotta read another one. Come on, please, please, please,
That was super.
please.
Yeah, but you guys didn't get the joke. The Other Sons?
No.
Get it?
Other Sons.
All right, it's kind of bad.
Sons as in S-O-N-S, right?
I didn't write that one.
No. Get another one. You gotta get another one out. Come on. One that we can all get.
Or we can continue on with the Hangout, and if we want to read Aesop's Fables, we can read Aesop's Fables.
Oh, Grant, don't be a pooper.
Yeah, I don't want to
story isn't gonna hurt us.
talking drone on here, so.
We've talked about things over and over and over again in this hangout. Come on. This is different.
I want to know what else you have in that library behind you.
I got a little bit of everything, I guess. It extends over that way. And up the wall. But mostly Judaism, Christianity, commentaries, 2 bookshelves of different versions of biblical literature, Bibles.
Now, have you read most of that, or is it just a collection that you're in progress on?
Oh no, I read a lot of this.
That's wow.
Well, especially here, I got a great deal on Euripides' plays and Sophocles for Greek tragedies. There's a really awesome place if you ever get to New Jersey. It's called the Bargain Barn, and they have a used bookstore in there. You can find anything you want. I got the complete works of Shakespeare.
Yeah, the used bookstore here has old issues of Field and Stream. I'm in Alabama.
Shakespeare for like $5. I mean, this is in like pretty good condition.
Wow.
I grew up in a Shakespearean town, so I'm all Shakespeare'd out.
Yep, here's Joseph Campbell. I read most of those Mask of God series. Art of War. And then the Joseph Campbell Foundation, after his death, is coming out with a lot of his books, Pathways to Bliss and Thou Art That. These were 2 really good books.
How do you find the time to read all of that?
Michael's dancing. What are you listening to, Michael?
How do you find all the time?
I don't anymore. I got a house. When I was writing, I had a lot of time, but...
What's that shirt? You're wearing a Jesus fish.
Yeah, I just saw that. It should be a shock.
Jesus. Jesus loves you.
I'm stigmatized.
Tell him it's Pisces.
Jesus loves you.
It's Pisces.
They weren't paying attention to your story earlier.
Yeah, I heard it.
Now on that wall,
for like 5 minutes.
on that wall of books there, do you have any spiritual favorites, like from Eckhart Tolle or anything like that? Or how about Panache Desai? Or how about Wayne Dyer?
I got Meister Eckhart. I got the Sermons of Meister Eckhart.
Maybe the healing power of rainbows.
Where can I buy that? Where can I buy that book?
How about some fairy tales?
Anything about how special and wonderful you
Got any Playboys, Penthouse, anything like that?
fly if we
Yeah, John wants porn.
Hardcore porn.
Disease.
That's in the back room. You always put the porn in the back
Don't you
room.
dare show any more of those movies. I don't
Just
like.
need some pills with
Oh,
vibration.
jealous.
I
Nadia.
almost puked. I was
Hi,
trying to.
Nadia.
Have you got any books on how to satisfy 5 women in one night?
That stuff makes me puke, man. How you find that more educational?
I don't know how you think
I actually do.
All right, one at a time. Come on.
John.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Was it calm before I came in? To see what I do? See all that?
Yes. I joined and I let you guys come in.
You see what all that spiritual love does? All that spiritual love, it brings out so much emotion they don't know what to do.
I know.
They lose their mind.
I haven't wound down from work yet, so yeah, it's not going to happen for a while.
I said Eckhart Tolle, and they said, that's fighting words.
Yeah, you're stigmatized. Eckhart Tolle stigmatized.
That's right. I said Wayne Dyer, and they went, whoa.
This is why we need our own hangout on Woo Woo Wednesdays. We're gonna do, Michael. You're
Yeah.
gonna be
What's
part of it.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about me being in those.
the woo woo?
It's gonna
I
be.
say the woo woo.
We're gonna do Woo Woo Wednesday.
Yeah, we gotta keep the topics interesting for everyone in here. Woo woo is not tonight. It's Monday.
It's not tonight.
Every night's woo woo.
It's more on Mondays.
This is right now. It's Monday Madness right now.
Monday Madness. There we go.
Why are we all talking at once?
I want woo woo.
Anyway.
So Michael, I heard you had to. You went and cleaned your toilet.
I did. She inspired me. I went and cleaned the bathrooms, and I thought of everything that John May said, and I thought about everything you said. So I thought, okay, the essence is buy bulk, and be patient. Now I took what you said as being a patient lover through 30 days.
Okay.
And then as I was stirring, the cauldron and stuff was coming up. I was saying, which is wiser? And I didn't know, so I washed it again. And it was a very cleansing process.
What did you do with the toothbrush after you finished with it? After you finished washing the toilet?
I cleaned his butt crack with it.
Did you brush your teeth?
Wow. Did you feel that love? I felt that love. I felt the woo-woo love.
It reminds me of a Jerry Seinfeld episode.
I see a tri-tip steak of total depravity.
How about the cowlicks? Did you get the cowlicks out there, Michael?
Oh, the cowlicks. This is a
cowlicks.
Good lick. Oh, no. That's John. I got a good lick. I can't remember. How are you, John May? How you doing, buddy? Everything good?
I'm going to go and buy some of that Keep It Up cream, and I'm going to give it a go. Yeah.
Good. You know what? You do what you got to do in this life to find joy. That's what I say. And that's why you have to come on to John's show, the Woo Woo Show.
I love that joy.
No atheists on the Woo Woo Show, Michael.
No woo woo.
No
woo-woo.
Now, woo woo in black terms means something else. You know that, eh? Did you know that?
How about moo moo? How about a moo moo show?
If you don't believe me, there's a song by Jeffrey Osborne called "The Woo Woo," and he's not talking about religion. He's talking about higher love.
Ah.
Woo woo.
I found a song from the '60s by the Valentines called "The Woo Woo Train."
It could be very much the same vein. That train is
don't
going
go
to the
there.
same
Don't
station.
go there, Michael.
It's going. Don't go.
Veins. Oh my God, that's a dangerous word around John.
I'll tell you. It's so good to have family members around us, isn't it? All this love and joy and bliss, and as long as you don't bring up spiritual teachers, everything.
Dirty minds.
Hey, Michael, speaking of trains.
We all have dirty minds, don't we?
Hey, your mic sounds better now.
Michael, speaking of trains, did you bring up me coming over to your wife? Did you bring up to her and say, hey,
The party train. The party train.
Some kind of a train.
Some people call that a train. Yeah, but no, I don't think that train is going to come to the station.
Michael, he's trying to push your buttons. Don't let him try to push your button.
Oh, you know what? We have so much love and respect for each other. It's there. You just got to dig deep.
Yummy, 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 I got love in my tummy. I think I'm gonna puke.
That's wonderful.
Well, have a good night, all. I gotta hit the hay. Been working all day, so.
Oh,
nice.
Wayman.
Oh, no, don't leave. Don't leave.
It's not Wayman, we just got here.
Don't leave. No, I want to know what's more on your shelf there, the books that I would read.
Oh, he just went through that.
They don't have big letters.
He just went through that already.
Did he? Okay. All right.
You'll have to watch the video.
I had something really weird happen here. I got, somebody...
Don't go, Wayman. We'll let you talk about your books. Come on. Don't go.
Wait a minute.
No, every time I talk about spiritual stuff, everybody leaves.
Come on, let's do some book reading with Wayman, just so he doesn't go to bed.
Book reading with Wayman.
How about if we all smile together? Let's all smile together.
No, it's not that.
Screen on and smile.
You all are keeping my wife up. If I'm not here talking.
You're not keeping your wife up. You tell her to go to bed and stay here with us, okay?
Tell your wife that we will pray for her, and we'll pray for me, and we'll pray for John.
Water bottle and pretend it's you.
Wayman, have a great night, man. Thanks for dropping by.
Raymond, please.
All right.
Always a pleasure.
Take it easy, man.
Take care. See
Thanks.
y'all.
Don't judge me for their acts. It's
no, I won't.
Don't
WWJD, right?
No, we're back on topic. That's pet peeve. Oh no, that's another show. Okay. What was it again? The Woo Woo Show. Okay.
Yum, yum.
Yum, 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 yum.
I'm about to have to yum myself here.
Yes. How deeply stimulating this conversation is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Amazing. I know.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
How are you, buddy?
When are those 5 girls coming over, Michael? Can you put it on film for us, buddy?
Nobody got the gist of that. We got derailed, and then we talked about trains, but not the same train I was talking about.
Michael, we got totally derailed, Michael.
That wasn't my fault. I was being somewhat serious.
It was all your fault, Michael.
It's called a woo-woo train wreck.
No, fiction fighter here, and I'm being honest, okay? And just for a moment, how do those? Okay, you know how if you ever watch Sister Wives?
Who? What?
About the Sister Wives? It's the polygamy show. It's no joke. It's on A&E. I think it's on A&E.
I don't watch TV. Remember?
You don't watch TV?
I don't have TV. I just took it off.
Okay. Well, you need to watch video of this. This guy has 4 wives and 17 children, and I said, how does someone keep 4? I said 5 wives satisfied because he's talking about having another wife. And then John got into creams and buying bulk, and then Brother John said be a patient lover, I think, indirectly, because you had to schedule them in or something. And then I got so like engulfed in the conversation, I went and cleaned my toilet, and I thought about it some more, and it was especially what oh, I hear grunting. What was that?
So what's the question? You wanted to ask me something.
Where you going, Mike?
How does someone live that lifestyle and satisfy those people? And then I came up with a really cool idea of you have 1 wife and 5 husbands.
Can I have 30 or 40?
How about just have some man sex slaves? How's that on the side? Get married once.
Why does it always go so dirty? Dirty. Now,
well, 3 or 4 husbands is maybe like,
washing your toilet with a fucking toothbrush.
What is with the toothbrush?
Dirty. That's the dirtiest thing I've ever heard. Use a toothbrush to wash the toilet.
No, but
it's disgusting.
But you know what that is? I always thought that was punishment if you had to use a toothbrush. Is that like a fetish? Is that a fetish for you, John? Do you need to be punished, John?
I used to use my sister's toothbrush to wash the toilet with.
Fiction fighter, 30 or 40 husbands make perfect sense, and then you add on to that, 10,000 sex slaves.
Not using my own. Jesus Christ, I use my sister's.
John.
Which one?
Brother John. Okay, this is what happens when you have a spiritual man, an atheist, and people who...
And a porn star.
and from Australia.
No self-control, huh?
Now, I'm showing control here. They just take what they're getting. They're into toothbrushes. They're into cleaning things.
You were into it.
I said it was cleansing. You took a beautiful thing.
30, 40 husbands and 10, 20,000 sex slaves. So.
Okay. And what are your spiritual beliefs?
Who?
Nadia.
Oh,
don't have any. She's an atheist.
Yeah.
John,
no,
my phone, John.
How did you miss that, Michael? How did you miss that?
Where have you been, Michael, for the past 3 months?
Well, many people have been asking me where I've been the last 10 years, but that's another story.
I know where. The aliens took you.
Where have you been?
Hey,
Where have you been, Michael?
Did anybody watch the latest Ancient Aliens? Oh, it's really good. It's really
What?
good.
What's
No,
about?
You've been away for 10 years, haven't you, Michael? They only just let you out, I know.
It's about Tesla. No joke. It's about Tesla. You should
Tesla?
watch it. Tesla.
Is it Nikolai? Nicola?
Nikolai
The
Tesla?
inventor.
Why should
Tesla was
everybody
the alien.
Do you know what he said his main inspiration was?
What?
Aliens.
I doubt that. I think you're
They-
looking at
No,
watch.
pseudoscience.
Right.
Tesla
Right.
at some point thought he was picking up alien signals.
He did. I'm not kidding.
Yep.
I was I was
What?
talking to him on the mothership earlier. And then he went, "Be patient with John May. Doesn't understand. He's
Does
all
the
about the
mothership have
cream."
toilet? Where is the toilets on the mothership?
The side of my
Where
head
are
hit
they?
my desk.
Well, can I explain that to you, John?
What
You know what
sort
he
of
said?
toilets
He
do they look
become
like?
after all that cleaning with the toothbrushes, we become just light beings. We don't actually have bodily functions, and